Hey everybody, Jim Sammons here from the Kayak Fishing Show. If some of you have been following along, you know that I've got the new Blue Sky Boatworks Angler 360. And I'm not going to even pretend that this is purist kayak fishing, anything like that. I just want to have some fun on this thing. So I just happen to have a couple of Torqeedo 403 motors. And so I wanted to put them on my Blue Sky. The problem is the old mounting system for the Torqeedo was a little bit cumbersome. I really didn't like it. I actually have one right here. It has this long arm that you would attach to a ball onto your boat, and then you could tilt this thing up. But I just never really liked the way the mounting system worked, so that's why I never used it on my kayaks. So doing a little bit of research, I found this company called Easy Mounts, and they make this great little trolling motor mount called the Slipstream Mach 1. Has the full tilt action to it. The great thing about it is it will mount very, very simply to your power pole mount that a lot of kayaks have. So if you already have the power pole inserts into the back of your kayak, it makes it just super easy to do. Literally, it's 4 screws. Now there are some micro adjustments, and really the best thing to do would be go to the Easy Mounts website and see exactly how to tune this thing in and watch one of their videos. But I'm just going to go through what I had to do to mount my Torqeedo motors onto the Blue Sky with the use of the Easy Mount Mach 1. So the first thing you're going to do is attach this piece, which will stay on your kayak or your boat all the time. But again, it's just 4 screws, goes right into the inserts that are already in your boat. So next you have the actual motor mount, which you can remove every time you're transporting your boat or when you're storing your boat. So this can go someplace else with your motor attached to it. But it's really simple. It just basically goes on this big pin and stays on with a couple of large cotter pins. So that's really all there is to that part. I mean, and then the motor's going to go through this hole right here. The thing about what I've had to do, I said, is eliminate that from the whole system. Then, because I'm going to be using the rudder to steer this boat, not turning this motor, I needed to secure this into a fashion so it's just going straight. So first off, I just need to remove all this junk. So in order to remove all this stuff, it's really simple. Just need an Allen key. Loosen them up. And then slide it up over the length of the cable. This just slides. So real simple. Now I have the motor and the post, and this just goes straight through the hole on there, and then I need to secure this in place. So what I need to do, like I said, I need this thing locked straight because I'm not going to be steering with it. So I actually take the steering arm, turn it over, and then with a couple of self-tapping screws, I'm going to screw this down in place on the mounting plate on the Easy Mount. So that'll hold this straight, because once you tighten this, it won't turn in here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to run this up through here. That way I make sure that it remains centered. There's already holes in this plate. So using the existing holes in the Torqeedo and then some self-tapping screws I have, now when I tighten down this clamp, when I tighten this down, the motor won't turn. It'll be locked in straight. Okay, so now you might be wondering why I've got this fin on the motor. Well, basically this gives me a contact point that I can attach my pull line to tilt the motor up. So basically this is the original hinge, but I'm going to eliminate this and attach this directly to the post. So I'm going to eliminate this stuff here. Okay, so what I do is I take this ring, which was originally to hold this shaft so it wouldn't go too far down or too far up, and just attach this wing, if you will, to that. Get these both at the same height. And then it's just a matter of screwing it in. Now, in all honesty, I will more than likely change this, but this is just what I had. So my thought is at this point is I will actually cut this so it's not sticking so far back off the back of the kayak or off the back of the boat. Cut it straight down and bring this whole thing in closer. But again, the reason you have this is you attach a line here so you can pull the motor up. So okay, I decided to cut off part of this wing so I could just shorten up the distance there. And again, this wing is just used for pulling the motor up. So I had some brass clips and some brass rings and some paracord. So basically what I did is I ran the paracord from this clip down to a Yakattack tie down that I put on the gear track. So it's running through the loop in the top of that and then goes through a pad eye that's just underneath my seat. And then I attached a brass ring to that. I put another one of these T's right in the middle of the gear track that's behind the seat, so I can pull this brass ring and clip it over the end of that T. And that is what's holding these motors up right now. So it's a pretty easy function. It's probably not the finished product, but it's going to work for my first test drives. So one of my bigger challenges was how I was going to set up the controls for two motors. And thanks to Yakattack, it was actually very easy. Using their new lock and load system, I attached one of the bases to the side of my seat. And then with a couple of these arms, one of their fish finder mounts, and then two of their Torqeedo controller mounts. I mounted that into one spot. I got a piece of aluminum, of this grooved aluminum, and attached it to one end of one controller so it goes over the two. So if I want to control both, I've got the single control. If I want to go opposing, then I can separate them. It was a pretty easy setup, and it puts them right next to me up on my seat. They're kind of at a downward angle, but I'm gonna have to play with that once I'm out on the water and see exactly how I want them. So I'm sure some of the stuff is gonna change once I do get this thing out on the water and play with the positioning of some things. But so far, that's how I have my Blue Sky Angler 360 set up with dual Torqeedo motors. Thanks to Torqeedo, Blue Sky, and of course, Yakattack and Easy Mount. Easy Mount is ones who made it so easy to get those motors on the back of this thing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. If you're going out on the water, remember, always wear your PFD and keep your paddle right side up, or keep your motors right side up.